years ago, the Molito dynasty took over the kingdom of Rauratoshan. And, and what this prosperous kingdom started taking over its neighbors. There's kingdoms like Napaloma and other such entities. It became the Quill Empire or Quill Kingdom, covering much of the continent of Quillen. However, in the 88th year of the Kanata dynasty that House Molito started, a scientist by the name of Ayamensu took over er, the operation of a device in the so-called Multiverse Madness Missionary that transported the entire kingdom into another world. And however, in the chaos that ensued, the royal family was lost in the interdimensional sea, leaving a bit of a power vacuum that could be taken and up by others to create a more sustainable little kingdom that is less prone to collapse. That is Rauratoshan, the the kingdom seeking the path to the stars. Is is here in the world of Nguhcraft. If, if my name is Yoma, I'm a resident of the kingdom of Rauratoshan. This is Jamie Dragon, one of the high-ranking members of the kingdom. Jamie,
Yes.
he say meow to our fans.
Hi.
And this is a kingdom that we built in a Minecraft server that is a pseudo global politics RP using completely fictional nations. Rauratoshan is our chosen project, as you heard from the lore segment, and the kingdom of Rauratoshan is found outside of Nguhcraft as well. It's actually part of one of my major world building projects. And what you see here in Nguhcraft is essentially this kingdom done right. The what you will see later in the project known as Drawn to Afterlife is a broken mess that the shakeups caused by what was known as the Rauratoshanyan incursion helped avoid. So here we enter the first building constructed in Rauratoshan, Sasha Station. So you come in here, Jamie. What do you think of our signage?
It's beautiful to say the least. Especially the use of what's it called again? Rokadong.
Yeah.
The one of the main language. Okay, the official language of Rauratoshan.
Yes. Rauratoshan technically has three what are known as working languages, but the only one of those deemed official is Rokadong, which you see on various signs in the nation. However, English and Spanish are given what's known as working language status, meaning that they are not necessarily official languages, but you are required to either provide services in them or plainly state that you cannot provide such services.
I myself am not even close to being fluent in Rokadonian, and so rely on English for
Yeah.
everyday business and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and you'll see that when we head out to the various towns, that some of them rely more on English than others. This is the city of Remulapala, is the capital of Rauratoshan, and I'd like to take this opportunity to give you a bit of a grand tour. Give you the audience the bit of a grand tour with me and Jamie. Is that yeah? So Remulapala is the is the capital city of Rauratoshan, but the seat of the government is technically not on this island. Remulapala consists of three islands. The one we're currently on is called Now Island. The other two are known as Pa- Papela Island and Irisela Island. And Irisela Island contains the seat of government. But
Specifically, the castle and the very recent Parliament of Rauratoshan.
correct. In Kanata 99, um, or or Nyan Nani Kanyan, um, Kanata Nani Kanyan, um, the queen of Rauratoshan, Nozomi the First, established the constitution of Rauratoshan that turned the government from an absolute monarchy to a parliamentary monarchy, based heavily on the longest lived nation of Nguhcraft, the kingdom of Kyasen, which you may have seen in one Agama Shuya the First talk about in a recent upload to the YouTube. What do you think of this development?
Huge, massive, even.
What do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah, don't you have a pretty big role in the Parliament of Rauratoshan?
Oh, right, yeah. When you juggle a lot of affairs every day, sometimes your mind gets confused, especially when you have to run the country, be one of the people that runs the country as Prime Minister of Rauratoshan. Of course, my
Yeah,
position doesn't exactly come with universal praise. There's people who are opposed to this whole idea.
yeah. I've heard that there are some elements, particularly um, there are rumors that the um, current sitting chair, the current leader of the Preservation Party, intends to make a speech about that very thing. But
Well, let them. Freedom of speech is very much welcome in this nation, even if I'm not necessarily agreeing with what they say.
yeah, well, either way, let's go on a bit more of a tour of the Remulapala outside of Parliament stuff.
This
We'll
would
head
be
over to the Parliament building in a bit, but first, what do you say?
Regulate Shrine.
Yep, that is where we started. It is a shrine to the moon goddess of the national religion. It isn't technically official, but given that the royal family of Rauratoshan do believe in it, it is considered marginally official. Yukachan is what it's referred to as. It is a polytheistic religion that um so there are many shrines to different deities. This is the goddess of the moon, Rita, happens to be pretty important to the royal family, so we end up with that stuff. Um,
And I tried myself to learn about this religion. Work in
mhm.
progress, so to speak.
I mean,
Well,
Sir
my
Fox might
learning
be
of
able
it
to
is a
help.
work in progress.
Sir Fox would probably be able to help you.
Possibly, but he's not at home today. It doesn't seem like I don't
Yeah,
see anyone in here.
unfortunately. We'll have to talk to him
Maybe another
later.
day.
Next up, we're gonna head to the harbor. Remulapala Harbor is the main site of international trade, as it also holds the Rauratoshan Postal Services. Is the national postal service of the kingdom of Rauratoshan. And Remilapala Harbor was one of the other early projects. Um, over to the south, which is where this harbor faces. You can't see it because of the server render distance, but to the south you will find the islands of Jimguing, which are one of the kingdoms that which are one of the nations that share a border with Rauratoshan, though its leader, the Guing, has not been seen in a while. Well, though to be fair, with even despite that, Middle Mandarin is seeing some Middle Chinese or an old variant of Mandarin is seeing some use in like marginal use in Rauratoshan anyway. It just isn't very much because of how relatively inactive Jim Gwing has been.
Right.
Now it is getting dark, so let's head to our houses.
Two of the very first buildings that were made when we
Hmm.
really started with this.
We call them the original houses for that very reason, though. Um,
This is referred to as the original house of um, Caramella, I believe is what it's called.
yeah, and this is the original House of Dragon, which is this guy
Draconis. No,
of Draconis, right?
damn it, you heard it hurt me too. It's identical to the Caramella house, just pink.
With pink,
Pink sheets.
because this person is trans, and that is based.
As after all, the first thing when you arrive in Rauratoshan via the Sen Rail, the
Yep,
very first thing that you'll be treated to when you first stop here, you'll see the trans rights first because the
yes,
Queen decrees that trans rights are based as hell
correct.
because they are.
Speaking of the Sunrail, Sasha Station also has local transit, which I think we're going to take first in order to head to Irisela to show off the Parliament building. All right?
This is a map of the Rauratoshan Loop, also known as the RTS Loop. There are 8 stops across the 8 towns and cities of Rauratoshan.
Yep. We're headed to Irisela Island, which is the first one. Now, unfortunately, it is rather dangerous to go in quick succession. And because the rails in Craft go very fast. So, Jamie, you can go ahead and head to Irisela now, if you'd like.
Trains would only dream of ever going this fast.
Hmm.
There's also a little area down here, but it's still being worked on. It goes to an
Yeah,
area called New Kyrie, but it's kind of
yep.
a work in progress.
We'll talk about New Kyrie actually here in a bit. This is the work in progress Irisela Castle. It is going to be where the warehouse Caramelo resides once it's complete. It'll be down that way. But what is basically complete is the Parliament building, thing which you see right here. It is designed to based on the flag of Rauratoshan, which is also one of which is also what this big glass decoration is. It is essentially a horizontal version of our banner. You can see on my shield here. The the flag is a field of blue with a black stripe down the middle, a white sun-like pattern, stylized, also Minecraftized, but even in the original it would be stylized, and a white sort of triangle thing. I forget my exact flag terminology. I think it's called a chevron.
Don't quote.
Uh,
Don't ask me. I don't know.
and the white stylized sun, of course, represents the sun, like literally, and the white chevron forms a path leading up to the sun. Uh, the blue field represents the blood of the people of Rauratoshan. The majority of Rauratoshan natives are of a species known as canvas, which have differently colored blood to humans, but so that's why blue is used to represent it rather than red. Also, could also work in it for humans though, because veins appear blue due to the skin changing the color of what the veins look like. Either way, the
First,
black
do you know any humans?
Either way, the black represents the royal family of Rauratoshan. The idea is that the people through the help with the help of the royal family shall be able to reach for the sun and other stars in the sky. They, you know, that this connection shall forge a path to the stars. That is what gives Rauratoshan its name. Is Ropadong for um, star Rara, path Shan. The to is a genitive particle, shows it's path of the stars. Either way, this is the parliament itself. It has 25 seats, each distributed among the 5 districts of Rauratoshan. Pop quiz, Jamie. What are the 5 districts?
The elemental district where I hail from, and there'll be a lot about that. Just give us some time to get there first.
Mm-hmm.
The elemental district, um, Reta Leta,
Reka Lekatana,
um,
which is mainland Africa. That is what the continent is called, if you don't
correct.
know.
Yes, New Kyrie.
Now
Is it
Island. And what
huh?
is the last? Now Island? What is the last one? It's another island.
Um, hang on, hang on. It's on the tip of my tongue.
We're about to head there.
Rapi.
Yes, Rafi Island. And each of these 5 districts get 5 ministers in the parliament.
I'm sure some people
Jamie
would prefer
Dragon
to.
as Jamie Dragon as the head of the most of the party with the plurality of votes is the prime minister.
Despite my best efforts, we weren't able to win a majority.
Yes, there are 6 parties though, and only 25 seats, so it is rather hard to win a majority.
True, and not all parties are represented anyways. I'm sure if Fabo were here, he could explain why he doesn't represent the party the banner that he ran under.
Yes, he's an independent. He's actually the only independent, and you'll see why if you read the news. I think.
Oh, the news.
hmm We're gonna talk about that, but that's gonna be saved for the end. First, though, let's go back on the RTS loop and head toward Rafi Island, specifically Yunrai. Um, all right. There you are. Now, the RTS loop is a literal loop, so you can go in either direction. But the faster way to get to Yunrai is to head back to Remulapala, then keep going. You can go ahead, Jamie. E. This is labeled as Yunrai on the RTS loop map, and Yunrai holds the firstly holds the home base for the business underflow storage, which is the main storage solution here in Rauratoshan. People here have a lot of stuff. It needs to be stored in a place.
If I tried to carry all this stuff in my bag, we'd be dealing with the Great Rauratashanian Flood.
Or a dead prime minister, which would be even worse.
I'm sure I could find somewhere in Hammer space to fit everything.
Sure.
But
Minecraft does
because
have a
of the
lot of
fact
hammer
that there's
space,
but because of the fact there's just so much stuff in the world, this isn't the only location. There's another one in Elemental City.
and there's even one in Remulapala.
Conveniently, I managed to forget that 30 seconds after seeing it.
Yeah,
There's also
unfortunately, unfortunately, Underflow Storage recently had to tighten security on the chests due to an incident known as the Great Chest Locking,
fortunately
where,
we weren't affected, but it
well,
was a
that
concern.
was a pure stroke of luck because both of our neighbors on the coastal line, which is the line that Sasha Station serves, were thieved from.
I still don't understand how we didn't get robbed.
Hmm. The Port of Eras, which is the other country we share a border with, was robbed, and I believe Spansos Gaming was also robbed. They are technically our neighbors, but the Nungle separates us, so we don't share a border with them. But we do with Port of Eras. That was part of the agreement that created New Kyrie District, or New Kyrie Island. Vassal Kyrie in Rauratoshan. This is a very work in progress of the Academy of Rauratoshan, one of the two major education institutions.
Higher
In,
education is very important, which is why this place and um the other sort of
yeah,
um you know
though the RRA also serves to help create curricula for not for pre university schooling as well. The RRA does actually exist. We just haven't completed the building yet because, as you can see, this is a survival world and it will require a lot of resources.
I've been eating carrots to survive.
Yeah, I mean, golden carrots happen to be the best food in Nguhcraft, so
And thankfully we grow carrots.
yeah.
I
And
mean I
gold
had
is
a seed
free.
somewhere, but
The let's head back onto the line, and Indo, that's about it for you and I so far. And we'll head to Jamie's favorite spot, right?
one of my favorites, Azaria. I believe the official name is Azaria Pecan or something.
Yes, Pagan is. Oh, not. Well, That's why it's dangerous. Whoops.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Good thing death isn't permanent in Craft, am I right?
It's like nothing happened. You should see the news. I hold the world record for deaths.
Yes, one of the first articles published in Rauratoshan was a joke article written by one Sansa Ondatal about um how many times James Jamie died constructing one of the buildings.
Well, you'll get to see one of those buildings when we arrive in Elemental City a bit later. I died over 100 times making it.
Yeah,
And it's one of the only complete buildings in Elemental City.
and therefore in the entirety of Rauratoshan.
But don't sell yourself short. The bank is pretty complete. The Royal Bank, which we're going to be looking at momentarily, is pretty complete too.
And true. This is
Welcome to Azaria.
yep. This area is distinctly nether themed. Every street here
Um,
is named after one of the various underworlds of the real world. So like you come out
like
here on Styx Avenue and the bank
heuristics.
the bank is on the corner of it and Yomi Street. And this is the Royal Bank of Rauratoshan. Since it is a government-facing institution, you will see that signage here is in Spanish and Rokadong as well as English. Though the word exchange is pretty similar to Cambiar, so haven't written Cambiar here, but yeah. This
You
is
can see
where you,
currency exchanges in the back.
yep, this is where you can exchange various international currencies like um, XPS, which is the petrified oak slab that Agama Shuya talked about, is worth 128 of Rauratoshan's currency, the Gandhari Musan, or just Musan for short. You don't have to say the full name. I mean, who says dollar instead of buck anyway?
The currency still hasn't really entered circulation yet. It's still in the process of being printed and such.
Yeah, that's what this is for. This is a sugarcane farm that allows us to print money,
The sugarcane
basically.
gets turned into paper, which is then deposited into this chest for temporary purposes. From
Yes, and
there, that
then
paper is
that
printed into
this
dollars.
is turned into books and is printed into currency. I can since I have the vault key
Yes, you do.
show you what a Musan looks like. It's this book here, which if I read it, you can see it has a bit of security information. Tells you that it's worth one Musan in both Latin. Because Musan is a proper noun, it applies for both English and Spanish, and also in Rokodong. And it has the royal seal, which is the stylized sun from the flag, and says "In God We Trust," like the English American currency. So yeah, that is what you will receive from this bank when you deposit your petrified oak slabs, your diamonds, or any raw ore.
There are three chests
Um,
down here for raw copper, raw iron, and raw gold.
yep, all three raw ores are accepted and are considered backing currencies for the Musan. Um,
Well, the
though,
American has their gold and silver.
mhm. though the so yeah, we do technically follow the gold standard. It's just raw gold instead of actual gold.
You know where
I'm
we should go
sorry, I
next?
thought you would like that joke.
Oh no, I did. But you know where we should go next?
The Skulk Blight Catalyzer?
Sure, but inevitably we'll have to visit the very, very tall tower you see dead ahead.
Yeah, or resident megastructure. First, though, the Skulk Blight Catalyzer.
I haven't
Um,
actually seen this.
you see, in Yucatan, which we talked about earlier, it is like um, a plague of mushrooms is described that was later attributed to the death of the Pesca dynasty, um, which is the one preceding the rise of the Moito of House Moito, and um, because of that, it's actually one of the national holidays is a commemoration of that just so happens to be in the middle of winter, so it was already a solemn time because pre-industrial society, you pre-refrigeration particularly, it is rather difficult to survive winter or even in a rather northerly kingdom like Rauratoshan that would have at least some natural cooling.
Although,
But
if you looked at the way our terrain is, you wouldn't think so.
yeah, after the Rauratashanian incursion, we ended up in a more warmer climate,
I believe the
which
right term is arid.
which parts of the Quill Kingdom had, but the heart of the kingdom was colder, like more temperate, even entering into tundra territory. But
But now with the way with the world Rauratoshan is in, you won't find a speck of snow anywhere. Hell, if you
well,
go far enough north, you'll even find sand.
yeah,
Although, to be fair, that's where the northern border is, so
yeah. Either way, here's our resident megastructure.
look
The
at that
Multiverse
mechanism.
Madness missionary say what?
Look at that mechanism. Automatic doors.
Yep. Using skulk sensors placed about 20 blocks down. It is rather janky, but as long as you aren't on the first floor, it doesn't trigger. So let's head up to the second floor where we talk about what the Multiverse Madness Missionary is. I'm
In
sure,
need of desks and chairs.
yeah, I'm sure you've heard of them though. You're the Prime Minister. Don't they have several people in Parliament?
I think they have 3 MPs at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. This was originally a scientific institute, but especially after his crowning achievement of moving Rauratoshan, Hira Ayamatsu really was searching for something to actually do and basically ended up going mad and thinking he was some philosopher savant and then a politician because
I
he's a
mean, hey,
philosopher savant.
inevitably, all things lead to politics, including insanity.
I mean, I'm gonna be real here. If I managed to bring an entire country to another world, I'd probably go insane too. Real
Enter
mad
politics.
scientist type. Oh, the politics part is just Elon Musk. Let's be real here.
Who's that? I only know of Ayamansu.
Yeah. Though you will notice a bit of a joke there if you're aware of certain intelligence institutions. But yeah, the MMM building is our resident megastructure. It is planned to be the tallest tower in Minecraft, and it is basically impossible to beat it because this goes from sea level to the world build limit. Like,
A door.
oh yes, and a third door. I don't know why this third door is here, but it's fun. So
Let's just say Ayamansu put it there.
yeah. Rumor has it that Ayamansu pays his workers in blood diamonds, which are suspiciously netherracky.
I can't confirm or deny anything. I have not been paid in those kinds of diamonds.
Yeah, but yeah, this is basically Azaria. As you can see, it's partially Pale Garden because, quite frankly, Azaria is the site of very many strange experiments, like bringing a Pale Garden into Rauratoshan and the Sculpt like Catalyzer as a concept.
Probably home to very many dead bodies too, somewhere, maybe 6 feet into the ground.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot. I'm sure that there's not very many actually around the Skulk Blight Catalyzer, considering that Skulk eats dead people. By the way, that's
That would certainly
why
help.
that's why devout Yuka-chan
This
followers
wisdom is
are.
dead.
Mhm. That's partially why devout Yuka-chan followers are do not like Skulk because it
That,
literally forms from dead things.
but the
Like it
station here does not form from dead things.
like it straight up sprouts at the very spot that a dead body forms at. This is the other Senrail station, but we're not going to head here because that would head us back to Remulapola, which is the wrong direction.
I
We
specialize in going in the wrong direction, but that's a story for another day.
okay, Leon.
Next stop is Ligatal.
Ligatal doesn't have very much in it, though. I think we should. I think we can skip it and head to Elemental.
Yeah, because
Ligatal
originally
is a small town, but it is planned to have a bit of housing. But yeah, let me know when you're at Elemental City so I can follow.
go. According to the Queen Regent herself, she considers this place to be very impressive. Probably the most
Yep.
impressive thing in Rauratoshan, even though I'm very humble and don't get that.
Uh, Elentapola, or Elemental City, is the largest city in Rauratoshan.
And it has its own storied history with lore and everything. It was originally an independent nation.
Yeah. Then they fell under dire straits, right?
It was originally a kingdom allied with. It was originally a kingdom consisting of 2 nations: the Elemental Republic and the. And so, if you look far enough out to the north, which you can't because of render distance, but that would you would be looking at Valorous Draconis, very, let's say, old-fashioned nation.
Yeah.
Inevitably, as element as Elemental grew more liberal and Valorous Draconis didn't, their relations soured and they ended up severing in the 20th century. In
Yep.
Gregorian terms,
Oh,
the
yeah. There
Elemental
are
still still
multiple
uses the
calendars in
Gregorian
use here.
calendar.
There are multiple calendars in use here as well. The Gregorian and the Rauratoshan calendar. In Rauratoshan terms, it would be the 23rd century.
After that, Elemental continued on as an independent city-state of sorts. Its mayor was the equivalent of its president, and its council was the equivalent of its legislature. And it
Yep.
continued like that for almost a century. And then I don't exactly remember the details, but one day I happened to meet Queen Regent herself
Yeah.
while I was visiting Rauratoshan on business,
About 7 years ago, I think.
give or take.
And
Eventually, when when we decided to merge the two nations, I put it up to the voters in the city, and they
mhm.
overwhelmingly approved it.
Yep. So Elemental City is part of Rauratoshan now. A decision which greatly offended some people. The
Eh,
Minister Randa has made her position on the merger very obvious. I fear.
I think she just needs to be open to new perspectives, but some people are unable to be swayed.
Mhm. Preservation of the
Oh,
kingdom means different things to different people. I'd say.
yeah, that's one way to put it.
Either way,
There's
this
many different
is.
sites in Elemental City, and nearly all of them are incomplete. But here's the one place that
Mhm.
is complete.
The Royal Theatre is, well, exactly that. A theater.
Here's the theater booth.
Mhm. Got a seating area upstairs. We even have a little cafe with some smokers and whatnot, furnaces.
To get into the seating area, though, you need a specialized VIP pass because,
Hmm.
well, let's just say you get better views from up here than you do from down there.
Yeah, this is this is basically where you'd see like Lincoln sitting in the seat where he died.
Yeah, do not. I highly recommend that you don't sit upstairs, just in case.
Well, don't sit upstairs if you have people you know hate you who could also be VIPs. That's what I'll say.
And don't sit up there in April.
Hmm. There's also an apartment building, a creamery, another branch of the underfloor storage, an exploration guild. Weirdly enough, I think that's a specific business in Elemental City.
Yeah, it's very specific because the population element is a very different population compared to the rest of Rauratoshan.
Yeah. Um, I- I'm not entirely convinced that they are from Nguhcraft either, but they appear to have been here much longer than Rauratoshan has.
I'm still trying to find the old records. They're somewhere, but I have not been able to find them. The city was in
Yeah,
bad shape when I originally ran into it.
yeah. But yeah, most of the residents of this nation are magical creatures, we'll say.
Very funny
Maybe
magic.
monsters that can fit in one's pocket if you have the right device.
One of them happens to own a tree business. Well, sort of. It's a farm where there are different types of trees. I believe it's every non-nether type of tree in this game.
Yeah. In every non-nether tree that has been discovered in Nguhcraft is grown here, and it is a public farm. So, uh,
Anyone can take as long as you give in return. And by give,
yeah,
I mean take a sapling from that building and put it down after you've taken the wood from here.
as long as you replant.
Otherwise the woman named Carol will be very upset with you.
Yeah,
Or
and
actually it's Sylvia, not Carol.
well, I think Sylvia has a good friend and sister named Lizzie who would have words for you
I
if
haven't
you.
personally met her. Maybe that's for the best.
Yeah, I have, and let's say you don't want to get on her bad side.
This is a simple composting facility. You take unwanted organic materials like seeds or moss, throw it in this chest up at the top. It gets dispensed via hopper into a composter, which then gets thrown into this chest as bone meal.
Yep. If you, I believe that from with mangrove trees, it is self-sufficient. Like you get enough bone meal to grow a mangrove tree from the mangrove tree's parts. So yeah,
I haven't had luck with that in my experience though. Is a very incomplete building over here. I can't run anymore. Um, this is a very incomplete building.
you eat while I talk. This is what the building for one of the political parties of Rauratoshan. I believe it's yours actually. The
Yeah, it's
um
also a workers' party. Let's just say they're not exactly. Let's just say they have very different ideals of how they want to run their government, and I don't exactly agree with them.
Yeah, but the MMM does. Ayamonsu is a proud socialist despite being the chief technical officer of a massive corporation. I don't get it either.
And I should also point out that this party doesn't exactly like him either.
Yeah, this is a very work in progress court building, I believe.
It's got big it's got big plans though, Elemental District Court.
Yeah,
Don't end up here. Don't end up on the wrong side of the law, please.
when Paul Zingtrades will not like you if you break Elemental City
There
law.
should be a police department, but there isn't one. Maybe in a couple of decades, maybe in a couple decades, out of it, build one.
You've built this incredibly fast. For the
Yes, but at
record,
the same time,
Elemental City is about the same size as Azaria and Remulapala put together.
yes, but motivation's a bitch.
I mean, that's fair. Either way, let's head down Sparkle Lane past the creamery, Milky Factory, and enter Riverfront Avenue. Go down here, and we enter. What's this?
Elemental University,
Yep.
also current
The
workers
two
party.
Scolipede statues guard the gates of the university, preventing malcontent energies from affecting students' performance.
Well done on that word.
It's
There's only two
the
buildings at the moment.
well,
There's
three,
one
but they're
building,
all works in progress.
right? There's a building for arts.
Hmm The
So
the College of
exactly what that
Arts.
starts.
There's also the College of Science down there, which is a bit bigger and but the but that's because lab rooms got to have more safety measures in place.
After all, if it causes a chemical explosion, we need to be able to run.
Hmm And then there is the crown jewel of Rauratoshan, we'll say. It is a work in progress, though. What is this?
Stellar Arena, one of the more let's say it's one of the more expensive projects in this nation, but also
Oh,
one of the biggest
absolutely. I believe
and the most impressive.
this is planned to be the biggest building in Rauratoshan, like even bigger than the Royal Academy, which you saw was pretty big.
Yes, this is even bigger.
Yeah, it
In
is.
some other world, let's say some other world contains this weird place known as America. I don't understand what the fuck an America is. Is it
Yeah,
edible?
I hope so.
They have this fun sport called football.
Hmm I bel
Queen Regent Nozomi some managed to figure out what this mythical sport was and convert it for use in Rauratoshan.
Yeah, though
Use it as trident.
she did have help from scientists at the academy because unfortunately Nguhcraft hasn't discovered pigskin yet.
Was the MMM involved at all?
No, the MMM do not really care that much about sports.
Damn, I thought they were based.
I mean, well, okay, the MMM does kind of care about sports, but not particularly much. It's not a main concern of theirs.
They haven't discovered pigskin, so in the absence of pigskin, we have to make do with tridents.
Yep. Tridents, though, are very dangerous. So, also in for lieu of mimicking the intense padding, as gridiron football is the sport with the most armored players in the world, I believe.
I don't exactly.
You'd basically be dressed like me right now. You won't have it. You wouldn't have a shield though, but this is basically what player of gridiron football in this world would look like.
And even then, you must take care. Make sure not to hurt yourself too much.
Yeah, coaches are very antsy about how much their players sign up for. But yeah,
I don't care if
you'd wear
everyone in
diamond
this.
armor and adorned with trims resembling like basically your team colors.
I don't care if everyone in this world is like a cat and has 9 fucking lives. It's not worth dying over.
Oh no, especially because there's no beds in Stellar Arena, which why is it called that anyway?
Supposedly, it's based on some mythical creature. I don't know too much about it, but it's based on some mythical creature called Terapagos, which is I've seen a picture of it. It looks like it resembles a turtle
Yeah,
with 18 different colors on it.
yep, and that's why there's going to be 18 segments. This is going to be a two-tiered building, so you see 10 here. There's going to be two VIP sections and 18 normal sections. And but yeah, that
The rainbow
is
has nothing on us.
yeah. I mean, taste the rainbow, you know.
Don't actually taste it. It will taste like plastic. That
Well,
doesn't taste good.
or maybe it'll taste gay. I've heard that too.
I mean, gay is pretty cool. There's nothing over here there's nothing over here yet, but in time this will also have its own Sunrail station on a completely different line to Rauratoshan.
Yep. Jamie is actually a leader on that project.
Had to mine out a whole tunnel. I'm also leader on another project. Not this underwater tunnel, but the pier.
Yep.
Sunset Pier, which is still not even close to completion.
Sunset Pier has various commerce stands, pretty nice bar and grill. I believe they sell a Alolan food here, right?
Possibly. I don't.
Like uh,
They haven't given me a menu yet. I have
Alolan
to.
bar and grill.
Let's
Hmm,
just say that. And there's
that
also
that
this
tracks.
Outlook.
Yep. There's a
Outlook isn't
nice
great,
outlook
but it
here
looks
too.
nice. Vanilla
The,
Lake.
though if you
We'll
want
just see.
to though if you want to get more up close and personal with the Vanilla Lake, there is the Starpath Minigames station here. Starpath
All right.
Minigames
Yes.
is Starpath Minigames is one of the major initiatives to sort of drive the commerce of Rauratoshan. Given that most of the farmable goods already have established businesses like the Cosden Ironsmiths um, and Enkavak's stranglehold on the armor industry. I believe both of our armor sets came from Enkavak.
Probably. Mini games
they,
are a big thing around Rauratoshan. But
yeah,
one thing you actually missed something in Remula. You actually forgot something in Remulapla.
yeah, the Temple Run,
Yeah, you
which
forgot the
has
Temple Run.
a Sphinx of Nozomi in it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it looks awesome. This is a completely different mini game. There is
Well, it's
nothing
not
on the
so much a
quest site
mini
yet.
game, but it is a roller coaster, which is along the same veins. It's a roller
It's
coaster
it's
that takes
fun.
you on a guided tour of Vanilla Lake. You get to see turtles and fish. It takes you underwater. That's what the underwater tunnel um, Jamie was talking about is for. It is for the roller coaster. But yeah, in lieu of an actual way to drive commerce to like an actual farm to drive commerce, Rauratoshan basically decided to become a tourist trap.
Which is very profitable.
I mean, hey, if it works for Costa Rica, it works for Rauratoshan.
Whatever works. That's essentially it for Elemental City at this point. It's
Yeah,
as always, as much like the rest of our Rauratoshan, it's rapidly expanding.
yeah,
A day never goes by without at least some work being done on it. Even if some of the projects are, let's say, abandoned, let's say.
Yeah.
I talking to this project here, I have no clue what they were doing, but I don't think it's going to be continued anytime soon, if ever.
Yeah, I believe they ran into complications with a cave. I mean, building in caves is very dangerous. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
and they got in trouble and they tried to cover it up.
Hmm.
There's a little bridge here that I still don't understand this phenomenon at all. There's an entire split in the mountain here for some reason.
Yeah. Either way, we called it Fisher Bridge.
Because it looks like a fissure in the earth. This is as far west as we're going at the moment. If you continue ahead, New Motostoke would be dead ahead, but there's another way to get there.
Actually, you
Which
go
is
that way. I'll go the land way. Um,
I'll keep talking.
Queen Nozomi has Queen Nozomi's Rauratoshan Transportation Commission has expressed a desire to create a Africa by land project, but that would have to go under consideration of the Port of Eros, who told us to hold that thought. Um, there are plans in the works at the Port of Eros, which is the most established nation in the on the continent of Africa. It, so it is rather influential, both in on the world stage and to Rauratoshan specifically.
Right.
The coastal line, as the African line, are built primarily by the Port of Eros. And there are talks underway to talk about accepting their official currency, the lyric in Rauratoshan. But
Negotiations are still ongoing though.
yeah, is that like like any good legislature, half of the stuff on the docket is in mediation.
And like any good legislature, it gets nothing done.
Yep,
And
this
unfortunately,
is
that sentiment at the moment describes Numoto Stoke as nothing has been done on it, pretty much,
yep.
besides this incomplete station.
Yeah, it is rather empty here, but it is planned to be a major mining town. It'll have we actually have a mini game in the works that will use that, but funnily enough, the most complete project of the Star Path mini games isn't even in Rauratoshan.
No, it happens to be in a completely different. Also, I think you're going the wrong way.
Oh yes, I am.
Unless you want to explore a very weird thing that I forgot to mention in Elemental City. Back
We'll
when
leave that
Elemental
as a
City was
secret.
still, oops,
Well, that's payback, I say.
because we're trying to talk about something else related to Elemental City.
Yeah,
Back when Elemental City was independent, so the RTS loop exists and connects all 8 towns and cities in Rauratoshan. But back
yeah,
when Elemental City was still independent, there were plans to work on a elemental railway. That wasn't its official name, but it was the working name at the time that the project was ordered to be stopped by the mayor. Suppose the official reason is that they ran into complications while working on the tunnels. There are
mm-hmm,
lots of rumors going around, though, that the actual reason is more, shall we say, unsavory. But
yeah,
as a good prime minister of Rauratoshan, I can firmly say there is nothing suspicious about the cave. Nothing at all.
yeah. On an unrelated note, one of the places that is not connected to the RTS loop is the island of Hotspot. Um, I believe that is Nguhcraft for the Nether, because that is what you find there is the Nether.
And you're ordered to stay away. Well,
And
maybe not ordered, but I recommend you stay away.
yep, um, on the island of Hotspot it has a Nether portal, a revived ruin portal actually that leads to the town of Fallen Arbor, who is weirdly instrumental in the human rights of Rauratoshan, I believe. Isn't there a
It's
major
strange. It's
holiday
strange
that
that there's
Fallen
a
Arbor
war
Town
going
helped?
on.
Isn't Fallen Arbor Town the major player that helped get one of the major holidays of Rauratoshan?
Somehow.
Let's talk about that later,
Hard for
though.
me to
First, let's
imagine.
talk about Zamalate Observatory. Which is this building. As you probably, as I've said earlier, Rauratoshan is not from Nguhcraft, which means that it had a different world, but now it has to deal with the parameters of the new world. Zamalate Observatory is an attempt to discover those parameters. It is literally an observatory. You can look at you can look at the cosmos through this telescope. Normally, this dome would rotate, but it's rather hard to build rotating structures in vanilla Minecraft. So,
Let's just say it's out of order for now.
yeah, I mean, it's still like it gets the point across fine enough. And as you can see, the doors are golden, which it means that they are lockable. If um I don't have the key on me, but it there is a key to this, and like use of the observatory is another major economic draw, specifically um for the Royal Academy. It produces something on the order of 1 million moose on a year. It's rather big. But since
I'd
it
rather
costs
small,
so
but
much to build, I would hope so. But yeah, this is based. Other than the observatory, it's more or less a small town. There are major businesses though. Guviatangam, which is what this village is called, is one of the um is the major game in town for independent news, like not connected to the Royal Academy or to the island of worst anguish, as it's known as. We don't talk about the island of West English. If you want to learn about that, go on the Nguhcraft wiki.
or the tabloids, but we don't recommend that.
But yeah, that's about it really for our grand tour of Rauratoshan, I believe. If you head back down here, you end up at Irisela again. You end up back at Irisela Island, which we can probably do concluding thoughts here. I think. Wait,
Oh,
where do you go?
I went too far ahead. I ended up back in Remilapula.
Oh, I can go over there. I'll actually talk about Papeltela first. Papeltela is where the Queen of Varatashan, as well as any other royal advisors, make official remarks to the public. That area that you see in front of me is going to be a major meeting area. I just haven't cleared it out. We just haven't cleared it out yet, but yeah. Um, Now let's head back over. You can see the Nozomi Sphinx. It's still being painted, but the building itself is like the statue itself is built. It just needs to be painted.
If you told me that that was the way it was supposed to look, I'd believe you. It just looks that good even without being completely painted.
Yeah,
So
I
for
mean,
this
hey,
building here,
yeah, this is an office building we haven't figured out what to do with yet. Originally, it was built to host various embassies, but a different plan was made on that front. There's actually a diplomatic district which is down that way. The road is still incomplete, but we can head over there. I think
well, I
because
can't.
it
Well, I can, but I'll be very, very slow because I can't run.
eat
I can't. I am out of food.
you eat while I head out.
I'm coming.
But yeah, as you can see, Rauratoshan is building international relations. I mean, that was partially why the move to parliamentary monarchy was made. Like we said earlier, it was explicitly based on the longest lived and arguably most powerful nation in Nguhcraft, which is the Kingdom of Kyasen. But
And
we
this
also
once
have
belonged to the Port of Eris.
Yep, Port of Errors is, I believe, songwriter is what is the official title. Finn, and in which which holds very prominent value um on a specific, I believe, deity. Um, like it's not in Yucatan, but like it very well could be. It's this one. It's this one goddess of art and specifically music that um forms the bedrock of Portavera's culture. So yeah, you can learn about that on the Nguhcraft wiki too. I think though. But yeah,
Right.
Ruby Tongue on actually has a website, doesn't it? That talks about that.
I think so.
Yeah, it has the Selshan Digest, which is a spiritual astrology type journal. It's its own thing, and it also hosts, of course, the Rubiatongan World Herald, which has its own website. I forget the exact URL. Again, this isn't a sponsorship or anything. No, we're totally sponsored by the freaking Rubiatongan World Herald, right?
We like to. I don't think we want to sponsor an entire newspaper with the government. After all, if we're going to be championing freedom of speech, we need to at least show that.
Yeah, no, Ruviatonga World Herald's big claim to fame is that it's independent, so we're not going to mess with that.
After all, if we did, we'd be no better than the various dictators of this world.
Yeah. One
Assuming there are any.
Sui would like to say something about that, who rumor has it has actually interacted directly like between Hira Ayamansu and them for an exchange of illegal fruits
The government, the government of Rauratoshan takes no position, does not endorse any kind of interactions with.
with the realm of madness of any kind. It's
No,
actually why we're that's actually why the queen tolerates the skull plate catalyzer, even though it is basically like an affront to everything that the kingdom stands for, because at least it's not the realm of madness, which is the only other place that generates skulk on the server.
which is an affront to everything that the kingdom stands for.
Yeah, like even more so than allowing Skulk to exist in Rauratoshan. But yeah, Rauratoshan is actually becoming a up and coming power in the world. As stated before, the Starpath minigames' first major branch occurred in the former CMC Federation, currently owned by Drostsitsi, I believe it's pronounced. In the town of Ajamui, you'll find a building that the CMC the CMC Federation did not build, known as the Amui Explosion Simulator, which is one of the various projects. That is also one that requires a lot of armor. Apparently, the Starpath minigames likes things very dangerous, between running through a simulated abandoned temple, exploding each other, American football.
Rauratoshan's a tourist trap.
For real.
I think that's almost. I think that's pretty much everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
I mean,
we're back at the shrine now.
there's rumors of some nation familiar to me trying to reform to Rauratoshan's north, but I know nothing about that.
Yeah. Definitely not gonna get its own video. Hopefully not, anyway.
I hope not, because I do not want to deal with those pesky Valerians again. Not trying to
Yeah.
sound racist, but my interactions with them have been less than pleasant.
We'll see how that
Oh well.
plays out. There's basically planned to be more lore. You'll keep an eye on this nation. We hopefully plan to be a major driving force in Nguhcraft Season 2.5.
Hopefully. And hopefully it won't be the realm of madness.
Oh, absolutely. Though I've heard it's called the realm of Spamton now. Who is Spamton? I want to know.
I think I preferred the Realm of Madness, honestly.
Well, I just want to know who Spamton is. Maybe the Nguhcraft wiki has something about that.
Possibly. I definitely don't have any direct knowledge.
Hmm. Either way, that is the engagement of Rauratoshan. Thank you for coming with me on this tour. Any final words, Jamie?
I don't have much. I suppose if you want guidance, look to the stars.
Hmm. Hey, that's the most common greeting in Rokurong. The most common farewell in Rokurong actually also references the stars. As you can see, local sailors place a high importance on the sky. Maybe that's why they built an observatory eh, before anything else to discover the nature of the world.
And it's a world that's constantly expanding. It will never truly be complete.
Yep. So either way, thank you for coming on this tour with us, and Lesashan, and good night.
Good night.